Hey everyone, welcome to the community stream number 180. Sorry a bit for being silent for a few seconds as we were getting in. My YouTube window was not showing me the stream has started. So if any of you is ever streaming live, you might know that basically when you get your stream going, there's a few seconds where your stream is not yet started. And so usually you kind of wait and verify on YouTube or whatever the platform you're using that you are indeed live before starting to talk. That's why, if you're not aware when you watch streams, if you wonder why the few first 10, 20 seconds your streamers are not talking, it's mostly because if we were, we would very likely speak to the empty world before it shows up. So that's the reason. Hi, Pro Gandhi 9287. For a second, I thought that your nickname was actually Propagandhi, which is a, a punk rock band from Canada that I kind of liked growing up, and I actually saw them play this year. So but in any case, that's still a good nickname. Welcome to the stream. Um, so we have the fight night running as every other week, but today we'll have some very specific things to discuss. Again, we'll start right away with the easy fight night because, as you will see, it's not going to be a very long, easy fight night. We have a longer one coming, obviously, for the most advanced. This time around, it seems like not a lot of players went for the easy one, which is going to make the hard and advanced one quite interesting, I think. So for this one, we just have roughly, yeah, we have 9 players only there. And the first player is a player that has a Russian nickname, or at least spelled in Russian, so I will not be able to pronounce the name. Sorry. But then we have NIP, Razan, Faceless, Not Free, Comrade, Rosarman, Ribnik, and Ains. So, yeah, without further ado, let's just go with it. Oh, that was a long spin. So, yeah, today, what are we going to talk about? The main points that I wanted to talk about with you will be related to the format of this stream because we are trying something different with the next time we'll have the stream, or maybe the time after that. We still need to see how we're going to organize that. But we want to do something clans related. What I'm looking at the moment is the possibility of running what we call the Battle of the Champions. That's the name I gave it, at least. And the idea is to take 2 clans from the game. The first time it would be 2 clans, and depending on how long it takes, we might go to more than 2 clans next time. And what we want to do with those 2 clans is to ask them to elect their champion. Their champion will be one of their players, for which they will ask him to set up the best army he can. And this will be the champion that the other clan will be fighting against. What will happen is that on our side, we will duplicate this account, or replicate rather, and use it as kind of a fight night system where all the players from the other clan will be added to this fight night and they will be fighting that single account from the other clan. So let's say, to be less confusing, let's say clan A, clan B. The idea would be clan A picks their champion. We replicate exactly the account of the champion of clan A, and all the players in clan B will be facing this champion from clan A. We will count the points at the end, of that round. If you have a loss, that's 0 points. If you have a draw, that's 1 point, and a victory, that's 3 points. What we will be counting is the points of the attackers, not the defender. That's important to note. Then the team A will then be facing the champion from the clan B, and we'll repeat the same process. All the players in the clan, they're all added to the fight night. They all set up their best army for that, and we see how many wins, victories, draws, etc. After that, we compare the score and we can declare the champion and the team that has the victory. What we want to test for now is if this concept is working fine on technical standpoint. We want to test if you guys are interested in it, if it's gathering the clan members to come in and chat with us, etc. And if it's working well, we could potentially have events like this where instead of just two clans, that might be a bit more, either as a tournament style, meaning let's imagine that now you don't have two clans, but you have four clans. Now it could be the champion of team A and B are fighting each other, team C and D fighting each other, and then the winner of the first fight and the winners of the second fight are fighting each other as well. So we could have this running with brackets, etc. The thing is, we want to do it in a way for now that we can showcase it via the fight nights kind of event, because we can take the benefit of this mechanic to broadcast live what would be happening. On the longer run, this could be as well a way for us to do that in game. So we could have an event in game that might be easier and faster to bring than the actual clan wars, etc., which are still planned but will definitely be a bigger feature. And we could potentially use that mechanism to say, hey, you know what? Now we are just going to be bringing that or a system like this to the game where it's only, you elect your champion, you pick your champion, and then it's, your clan against another one. That could be something we could think of, or we could do something of that sort, which would not require that much development and could be a way to have an event coming, just like the skirmish or the bounty hunter or those things, but focused on clans versus clan. And if that was the case, then we could have, all the clans that are champions. The next event, they will all face each other, and all the clans that lost would be in a second pool or kind of different matchmaking, and they would face each other, which would lead on the longer run to the fact that after a few of those events, or if the event was actually running for several days and you have every day a new clan that you're opposed to, you would end up with a final leaderboard of points and the clan that is the best on that exercise. So that's something we are looking at, and we would also be able to do already with the clan, the fight night kind of system. We could already be granting specific title or something like this that all the clan could display, claim, hey, we won the actual contest of champions, tournament of champions, contest of champions. I will get you guys to vote and decide on what would be the best title for this, but that's one thing we're currently looking at that could work well. For now, we are done with the easy fight night. I told you that this one would be very short, so I'm gonna move right away to the other account, and we'll be going with the fight nights for the hardcore and advanced difficulty. So let's go live. Yes. So in here we will be starting with Deathly Hallows. We have 007, Væringr, King Elric. We have HarabSeraphel. We have Karuun, Forain. Well, actually, two accounts from Forain are one after the other. That's kind of odd. We have Gostin. We have AC516. We have Trashly, Ager, Kilran, Chilias, Caesar, Constantine, Dead Ripping Hood, Sam, Wayland, Monte Cristo. And I'm going to stop there because that's like already the 21st guys we're going to fight. So let's not go much further for the moment. I must mention that I did take my layout for this army again. I based it on um, some of the players I was fighting against, and I was going through the entire top 20 and even a bit further than that until I could find um, a build that was not, well, it's still hydro dependent, but it's not a corner hydro build. So that's why I went for that and focused on this one. Hopefully, it will get great results, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. For now, it's looking quite good against Deathly Hallows, I think. That's a victory. So yeah, this new concept for the fight night to revive this and have a bit more people um, joining us in the live stream, but also try to bring something clan related because I know you guys are desperately wanting for something like this in the game, and so yeah, we're trying to combine that and make it work. Um, so yeah, that's the way we're looking at it for the moment. Um, on the games related topic though, the main one at the moment, it's obviously still the runes system, which is coming to the game very soon. At the moment, since that's a big feature, it's a big release, we are likely going to look at the first half of September for the full release, because it's not just the runes system. For those of you that are not aware, what I'm referring to is the actual feature for the commanders. So the commanders, which so far were not really bringing anything to the game and were just a cosmetic choice, are finally getting their first proper dedicated feature, the runes system, as well as the progression system. What it means is every time you're fighting, or I think we have one of those locked game. Ah, no, okay, it's just a draw. Cool. So anytime you're fighting, um, you are earning experience for your commander. And once you fill the bar for the next level, you will be asked for, either a certain amount of gold or whatever to get through the level of your commander. As you level up your commander, which really will be very simple for the first levels, you're going to unlock the slots for runes. You can equip up to 3 runes on each of your commander. So you have 3 commanders, you can equip up to 9 runes at the same time. But obviously, there's only one commander that you take to battle. So it's up for you to see if you want to focus in one commander. I think at the beginning, that's what most players will do. But on the longer run, maybe you will focus on different commanders. And the runes are going to be basically um, temporary buffs that you will be able to use for your army. And the idea is that you have four levels of rarity, I think. And runes are very short duration. So it's like 1 day max. Um, and some of them might be just a few hours or whatever. But the idea is that you will get them in a lot of different places and events, etc. And you can craft or merge them. What we mean by this is, as I showed in a video a few weeks back, if you have three common, you have three common runes of the same type, you will be able to merge them into an uncommon um, rune of that specific type. Then, if you have three uncommon, you can merge them to have a rare, and if you have the three rare, you can merge it to have, I think it's an epic. And maybe one day there will even be a fifth level of like legendary or whatever. But the idea is you will merge your runes, and so that means players will have to decide if they prefer to have an effect applied at all time but keep it rather low quality, or to have a higher buff but they might not have it on at all time because they might not have as many of the highest rarity, etc. To make it worth it for players to go for the highest rarity will have a stronger effect, obviously, but it will also usually last longer. So the ones that are going to be 1 day long or whatever will be the epic, so that the effort you put into getting an epic is also reflected a bit in the duration. Um, and so that's the rune system, and you can have up to 3 different runes equipped. You cannot use the same type of runes several times, so the 3 runes will have to be different. And as we get going, there will be more type of runes that will be added. And again, you will be able to make more specific type of commanders. You can have a commander that is, movement speed related, and another one that is immunities related, or whatever that is. The second option, that the second wave, sorry, of um, elements that will come for the commanders will come a bit later this year. And the idea at the moment is that it's a talent tree, a skill tree. And what we plan for this to do is that when you level up your commander, you will not only be potentially accessing the runes at specific levels, but you will also unlock skill tree points that you will then use to gain permanent permanent passive buffs for your commander. And the idea is that the skill tree will be different for every commander. Some of the skills will be the same, but they won't be placed at the same space. So maybe for one commander, you will need more points to get one specific buff than for another. But that's because it fits more this commander style in general, etc. And you will also be able to level up some of those skills, because some of them will have several levels. So you can decide if you want to have more buffs active, or if you want to have less buffs but make them stronger. And the last bit that is important for the skills is that there will be a way for you to reset entirely, or maybe not entirely, maybe just get back 10 points or whatever to redistribute your skill tree. More than likely will allow you guys to do it entirely, but there will be a small fee each time you do it. The point being that you should be able to do it when you need it. When there's a new era and those kind of things, you probably want to adapt to it, or there's a new season with new power stones coming in. You might want to change the skills that you have on your commander, etc. But at the same time, because there will be multiple commanders and such, we do not want people to be able to reset it at any time they want with no resource to be used on it, because then pretty much that would make kind of useless to have several commanders. You could just have one commander and change constantly the skill tree based on what you need at that very moment. So we want to allow you to do it, still make it so that there's a tiny bit of effort when you do it. And this way you also have to think about where you want to put your skill tree points. One thing that could happen is that maybe the first reset won't be maybe, like if you want to get 5 points back, you can do it for free, and then if you want to do all of them, you have to pay some gold. Or maybe the first one is for free, the first full reset, the other ones come for gold. Or maybe you have a free reset every era, and then for the other resets you need to pay a bit of gold. Or if you want to do more than X resets in a certain time, maybe you need to pay some gems or whatever. But we want to have it as an option that you can use without making it too tough, but still making sure it's not going to be used on a daily basis by everyone. And the last thing with the talent tree, the skill tree, is that you will also start with the active skill that every commander will have. The idea is that you have 3 commanders. Each of them will have an active skill that you can trigger during the game. At least that's the current plan. And so those will be the next step of changes for the commanders. So we'll be looking at it from this perspective. So let me just check. I think we are at Constantine. Let me check what the playlist is like for the day. Yeah, Constantine. So yeah, we've already done, yeah, pretty much 1/4, precisely 1/4 of the fights for today already. That's good to know. Okay, so yeah, those are the main things that are coming up for the commanders. It does not mean that we're only bringing commanders related elements into the game until the end of the year. There are still some smaller stuffs we are planning to deploy and implement into the game, but those are the big things, the big features that we're bringing in. Hey, Scar, yeah, you're saying welcome to the arty way. Yeah, so there were 2 reasons why I went for this build. First one is, well, they were part of the Twisted Curse event, so it made sense to try and go this road. But also, as I was saying earlier, this build was one of the few that I found in the top players that was not just um, a corner hydro build. And I didn't want to have a corner hydro build. First of all, because I already did that several um, community streams back. I also know that players are tired with it, and it's pretty much what you see all day at the moment still. So I get it, that players want to do something else. The other thing for me as well is that those corners, the problem they have is that they make for very long fights, especially if you yourself go for a corner build as well. And in this case, that can be pretty complicated if you simply spend your time with super long fights. As usual, today we have like 65 accounts on the stream, on the hardcore and advanced setup. If we have 65 accounts and each and every one of them is lasting a minute and a half, yeah, you quickly get into a more than 1.5 hour, 2 hours stream, and yeah, it's a bit too much. So that's why it's easier and safer for us to go with something like um, having just you know a build that seems a bit easier to go with. I didn't use your RD. Yeah, the thing is, I stopped maybe too. I'm gonna hurt your art a second time, but maybe I stopped a bit too high on the top 100 when I was checking for one. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. But yeah, no, the player I took it from, I'm not 100% sure who this was anymore, so I don't want to say a nickname and it's not them. I have a few players in mind that I think it was, so that's a bit confusing. But they were close to the top 20, so it was either right at the end of the top 20 when I did it, or in really really early in, like between top 20 and top 30. I would say they were somewhere between top 15 and top to be on the safe spot if you want to go and check. I don't know if they're still at that spot today. Actually, that can be interesting. Let me check if I can find who that was. Let me see. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, the top uh, the top 30 is changing way too much. Even just compared to yesterday, it's way too different for me to know. And I see now that you're number one, by the way, Scar. Congratulations. Yeah, I see. Yeah, you're saying you're first. Yeah, I see that now. But when I checked yesterday, I think you were not. Or if you were, then you were not using that build. You were using an hydro build then when I checked if you were first. But I think you were not first yesterday. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, that's usually how I did it. That being said, it's true as well that I didn't check every single accounts in the top 20. Kind of, I checked a few and then I kind of go randomly until I find one that fits a bit more what I was looking for. Um, just so you know, I've been also reporting again to the team that we should do something for those hydro builds. The problem at the moment is that even when we try to nerf hydro, it's still too strong. And whenever we try to nerf it internally a bit more drastically, it quickly becomes completely useless. Like it's very hard to balance it without making it completely useless. And because it's been the meta for a while, a lot of players have invested a lot of um, of gold and such on this unit. We don't want them to feel like it was all for nothing. So we're trying to find this good balance. We'll get there, but I must admit, for now, it's been pretty challenging on that side. Okay, I need to mention it because right now we have 42 players to go. And yeah, just like any geek in the world, 42 is always the answer to everything. But it's important to mention when you see 42 somewhere. Eska, are you saying you haven't changed since last season? You ended up fifth last time. You like to frustrate Said by only playing RD. It is the only way. Yeah, I mean, I know about your weird fascination with RDs. I mean, I'm not gonna criticize that. It's all fine, um, no king shaming, as we say. If you like RDs, that's perfectly fine for you. If that's the if that's what's make you love your battles. The only thing is, um, yeah, on my side, I try to switch it up a bit when I can, and it's always tough because at the same time, I kind of need to find army setup that will be at least a tiny bit challenging for you guys because otherwise, you know, uh, if I just go with my fantasy of like, oh, that could be cool to have this and that unit together. Usually, you guys are way more evolved than I am with the strategies, and so I would be crushed in no time, which is already a bit of the case. But at least I can defeat some of you. Uh, if we were going that road, I would not defeat anyone. So, by the way, I don't know if you've heard the beginning of the stream, Scar, but we were talking about trying a different concept for the fight nights. And one of the concepts, well, the main concept we're looking at is to have some form of a clan war format for the fight night. Sorry. Um, some people might think, so I will say it right away. No, it's not Zoyos that I took the ID from. Even if Zoyos build is kind of close to the one I went from, but that's not the one. Because or he changed it since yesterday in this case, but that's not the one I took the inspiration from. So yeah, I was saying that we are trying this kind of form of clan wars system for the next streams. I will be sharing all the details in the coming weeks. I don't know if it will be ready for the next stream or for the one after that. We'll see. Most likely for the next stream because that would be early September. Because anyway, the one after that will very likely be all about commanders and the runes because they will be either just released or about to be released at that point. And as much as I'm not really cheating my way in by making the account too strong on the artifact side or whatever, I will cheat my way in with the runes. I'm gonna be equipping runes on the commander that I use for um, the fight nights. Also, because one thing I think is kind of cool is that technically I don't have to tell you what commander I'm gonna use. So you could, I could also switch commanders or switch runes a bit late. They're gonna be small. They're gonna be small changes. So I like it's not gonna be extremely massive buffs with the runes, so that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah. Yes, Carl. So that's the idea to get more people in and also to bring something clan related because so far it's something we've failed to bring into the game. We still want to do that, but those are big features pretty much. So if we have a way to do something like this in the meantime, that's pretty cool. And what we are considering at the moment is kind of a what I call the tournaments of champions, and it's basically to have two clans fighting by picking a champion for their own clan, and the entire other clan will try to defeat that champion in a fight night system, kind of. And then the same happens with the other team. We count the victories, draws, and defeats that each attacking team got, and we can decide who was the champion between those two clans. And if that works fine, we could potentially do it in tournaments where you could have 4 clans or 6 clans included in one stream, where you would have um, different winners, for the 4 clans or fights. And that would give you the final between the two winning team, but also a final for the third place between the two defeated teams. So if you have 4 teams, that would actually result in 4 matches. And if all of those matches are pretty much 40 fights long, that might get a bit too long. That's why for the beginning, we'll definitely start with only two teams, but on the longer run, that could be something. But yeah, as I was saying, you can go back to the beginning of the stream if you want. I explained that a bit further, and what we're looking at. We'll be, as always, open to feedback and suggestions to make it a bit better and working a bit better. There's also the option to, if we stick to 2 clans per stream, we could also make it so that you don't pick just one champion, but you pick 2 or 3. The problem in this case is that it means we need to duplicate a lot more accounts and take care of more fight nights, and it's a bit messier, but we could do it. So it's up for us to see how we would like to do it, but that's something we could do. For now, we'll keep it simple, and we'll see how it goes, and if that's getting some traction from the community as well. I have a bit of a deja vu with this with this setup right now. Iskar, so you're saying that you looked away for a moment and you heard I'm not shooting my way in, and it made you think of Hellboy and Johan Cross saying focused and it coming out as focused. Um, well, I take it as a compliment because I'm quite a huge Hellboy fan. I've been I've been a fan, of course, of the Del Toro movies because they were just pretty amazing, especially the second one. Actually, the second one is to me way better than the first one. But also the Mignola comics. I think it's Mignola, right? The author. Uh, yeah, Mike Mignola. I wasn't sure at the moment, and I really dig some of his comics. I have a few of them, especially a few ones where Hellboy is going back to hell and pretty much trying to finally defeat all the devil's commanders. And yeah, I've always liked this universe because it's, yes, there's a bit of the superhero-ish kind of aspect. There's a bit of the dark fantasy kind of aspect, but ultimately it's just super super out there. It's kind of it's its own thing. I actually am one of the few people that believe the last movie they released was not absolute garbage. It was mostly garbage. Don't get me wrong. It was mostly garbage, but I do think it wasn't that bad in representing this universe, um, because it was a bit closer to the comics, the universe. The problem is that it's one thing to be close to comics, it's another thing to make a good movie. And Guillermo del Toro, we can say that maybe it was a bit going away from the comics to some extent, but it's very good movies. So I much prefer to have good movies, even if it's tiny bit less uh, comic appropriate, so to say, or not appropriate, but you know what I mean. It's not 100% um, going according to the comics, but yeah. My favorite scene from the Hellboy movies, I'm not sure if it's also said in the original version that way. I would have to recheck, but it's in the second movie when they go to the underworld market kind of thing, and uh, Hellboy is in kind of a redemption arc. He wants to showcase himself as not as goofy as he was so far, and they're destroying the place, obviously. And at one point, he sees this lady with what he believes is a baby in its arm, and he's saying, "Hey, what a cute baby!" And the baby looks at him and answers back, "I'm not a baby, I'm a tumor." And this scene absolutely cracks me up. I don't know why, but I absolutely love this scene. Other than that, in the movies, there were a lot of very strong visuals that Guillermo del Toro has the secret with, being super impressive designs of monsters and scenery, and it was pretty good with this. Like the how can I describe it? The no eye angel, so to say. That was a very very scary vision, but in a very positive way. So yeah, that would be my feeling on this. Yeah, it was fun it was in a fun way. It helps enough of the daft dark comedy Hellboy has always had. Yeah, that thing. You have to be. It's like, to me, it has to be a bit fun. Hellboy, because he's never taking anything seriously. That's the whole point of Hellboy, is being in a shit show, but not really giving the impression he cares. And whenever he cares, it's because he's too depressed and he goes really too deep into how he feels. So not caring is his way of protecting himself from the shit he's in, pretty much. So yeah. And that part always reminded you of Total Recall. Yeah, of course, there's a clear Total Recall feel to it. Yeah. It's been years that I didn't watch Total Recall, to be honest. Many, many years, actually. I would need to watch it back. Uh, it's a movie that I saw for the first time way too early, I would say. So when I saw it, I was, you know, below 10, probably like 8 or something like this the first time, because I was really into anything sci fi ish. And my parents would see, like, oh, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and it's sci-fi ish. Worst case scenario, there will be a bit of gunfights, but and a bit of physical violence, so to say, which for the kids in the 90s was kind of appropriate. We didn't care too much about this, but they didn't expect that it would be a bit more rude and harder to watch for a kid. But yeah, it left a quite strong um, feel, and I've always been a fan of this movie since. I mean, it's hard not to be a fan of Total Recall, to be honest. So, okay, guys. I so that Wither Hacker was saying that he has to go. Yeah, no worries. That's perfectly fine. The stream is available as a replay. Feel free to go and watch it after the stream. It's what quite a fair amount of players are doing. It's perfectly fine, since we broadcast at a specific time. Obviously, some players cannot join, but I believe that indeed some people don't realize that they can easily watch this in replay. And yeah, just go for it, guys. It's totally okay. Even if it's just to listen to my beautiful voice and to hear me talk about Hellboy, if you want, that's perfectly fine. Since we were on the topic of comics and those kind of things, if there's any ideas you have for skins or even for units, but mostly for skins that are kind of reminiscent of a comic character that you like or something like this, as long as it could fit within the Battle Legion visual style, do not hesitate to let us know. We can try to adapt something from there. There are quite some options and quite some units that could be fitting. I'm saying this because especially with Hellboy, we have quite a lot of units that could fit right in the universe of Hellboy, and we have some skins already that are a bit in that style. Of course, I'm not talking about making a Hellboy skin. We are not here to rip off other licenses, but more about potentially adapting the style that exists in some comics or whatever to try to make something of our own that would be reminiscent, but not a rip off of any sort. Obviously, that's not the point. So my winning rate isn't that great, but it's not so bad today. I know that the last times in the last couple of streams, anytime I said that the uh, anytime I said, oh, it's actually okay so far, I got completely destroyed after that. So we'll see if this time around we manage to keep it going. But yeah, Swarm coming in with a completely different type of build from what we see lately. That's cool. It's very cool. We need to encourage that. It's cool to come up with something different, even if it does not have RDs included. Okay, what is coming next? Yes. Well, PSK is actually using also a similar build. Let's see if I get the same outcome. I might get into the 70% win rate territory. Maybe that would be a first in a long time. I mean, except from the beginning of the stream, because usually I start with a positive amount, but no, I'm gonna lose this one. I'm gonna lose this one, I think. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. I saw that one coming. Okay, now we are back into the known territory. Sakura, I don't remember fighting you too often. Yeah, okay. I see it's your 17th time signing up. Uh, yeah, let's see what you're doing. I think with the level of artifacts that you have, this one might be a bit tough this time around. But with the build you're using right now, maybe it will be enough. Let's see. On the elbow line, and since you're liking the market scenes, a wing style skin for the untamed beast would work very well. Yes, that's actually kind of true. It could work quite well. It could work quite well. That's a that's that's a valid option. We should look into it. I think we should indeed look into it. So, see, that's the usual thing. I said that my win rate ratio was rather good, so now it's slowly turning to shit. So it's the same. But that's okay. We still have, what, 14 players to go. Maybe we can still make our way around that. Let's see. By the way, for those wondering, we will have, after Small, we will have Louis, Gwynella, Kerabal, Smiley. I don't know how to pronounce your name other than that. We'll have Testovirion, Devastator, Blazerdew, Neptune, Pon from Russia with Love, Gigi in Inder, and Illyberry. And that should be it. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. So now I'm not too optimistic anymore. My goal is just to keep my winning rate ideally above 50%. I think Lewis is going to help me from what I can see so far, depending on the wagon. Yeah, again, I say it every other week, but yeah, people using the wagon, you have all my respect. You're living the danger life. You're not afraid of going for it. That's important. Prince Nuada for a spear thrower. Just don't let their sister fall in love with a fish. Yeah, I didn't like that character so much, so I would probably keep away from him. But yeah, I do remember though that when I first saw Prince Nuada, so I watched that movie at the theater back then, and when I saw Prince Nuada, I was like, okay, I can't help but notice that Guillermo del Toro would make an amazing Hellraiser movie. Just imagine the visual universes, the visual um, type of monsters and characters that Guillermo del Toro likes to create visually, the sceneries that he likes to create, and the Hellraiser series. It would maybe finally be a good follow up because after the what the two first movies, um, this saga went to from bad to worse. So that would be rather a good thing. But maybe now that he's an Oscar winning guy, maybe he's not really into doing an Hellraiser B movie. But I would love to see that. Golden Army Ice Golem. Yeah, that could be cool. That could be cool. And yes, they are pretty similar. I mean, they're golems, so yeah, yeah, that could work. That could work quite well. And now you really make me feel like rewatching the Hellboy movies. That's been quite some time as well. I think I watched the second one back not too long ago, but the first one it's been quite a long time. So yeah, maybe. Okay, that's an interesting, very minimalistic build. Uh, let's see how it does. Yeah, it didn't make it, but it was very interesting to go for that. And we're back into 70 plus territory for the win rate. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Either way, in the meantime, I just need to let you guys know that we just have about 8 accounts, 8 fights to go with. After Testovi run, we just have 7 left. So this means if you have questions about the game and stuffs you want to ask, now is the time. Now is the time. Yeah, Scar, you definitely have to watch them back again. I mean, those are great movies anyway. This past weekend, my wife and I, we made our, I wouldn't say annual, maybe it's every 2 years, but we did a Lord of the Rings marathon again this past weekend. And so, yeah, seeing the ethereal army, of course, it's such the Return of the King vibe. So, yeah, right now it makes me feel good to see that. Azodu, let's see how we go. Maybe we can keep it to 70%. I don't think we're gonna keep it at 70%, but let's see. There's like 5 accounts left. Yeah, 5 accounts left now, and we just won. We might be on to our biggest victory rate ever. Oh, Neptune, I believe you are not meant to be in this category, or are you? I mean, that's odd. Let me see, Neptune. I believe that this is a player that got the wrong player name. Okay, yeah, that's a bit odd for Neptune. Not really sure if it was intended, but yeah. Anyway, from Russia with love, we are just a few players away from the end of this fight night. We just have 2 players left. Afterwards, I'm at 79%. I'm gonna make it above 60, that's for sure. Lord of the Ring, Iron Foot, Shield Bearers, or Hardy skins. I mean, yeah, Lord of the Rings, there are pretty much every single unit from the game could get a Lord of the Ring inspired type of skin, and I think some of them already are Lord of the Rings inspired to some extent. It's a bit different because Lord of the Ring defines so much of the fantasy as we know it altogether that I would say the influence of Lord of the Ring is already there in most of the units. And it's also harder to make things that are a bit close to it without making it a ripoff. Because the thing is, they define so much of the way we think about some of those designs that just to make a generic design of those things, they're already pretty close. And if we want to make them go slightly closer, that might turn into a ripoff, at least of the movies. So we need to be cautious with this. But yeah, we can look into that for sure. Berry, it's our final fight for the day. I'm just letting the next fight start because I wanted to see. Yes, we ended up at 77% winning victory. I think that's the highest victory rate in a long time, which means that we did good. We did good. And tamed beast Gollum. Yeah, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. I mean, that's a physical stretch of Gollum itself, but that's a stretch. I think we also have to be aware that with the Lord of the Rings, it's going to be even more complicated because they're starting the production of the next movie, which means that the owners of the rights will be even more cautious of anything even remotely close to Lord of the Rings universe. So yeah, I'm not so sure we'll be able to do anything in that direction, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we can squeeze some things in. Okay, let me close the event. Okay, so everyone should have received their rewards by now. On my side, that means we are done with today's fight night. Thank you a lot for joining the stream. And thank you, Gollum, for being on steroids, apparently. But for the time being, thank you all for joining. As a reminder, for those that will come just at the end of the stream, we've been talking about having clan wars, clan tournaments system in the streams. We've been talking about the runes and when they are coming to the game and what they come with. And yeah, those are the main things. And we talked about Hellboy a fair bit. So that's about it for today. Thank you again for joining us. And yeah, we'll talk to each other in 2 weeks' time now. Have a great evening. Bye.